our main thing when we first got here was, we wanted to work on changing the guy's body composition a little bit. We had a lot of guys that were either young or young training age, as far as workouts go. So one of our big thing was assess where they're at, height, weight, body comp. We got to change that. Once we change that, we'll be more resistant to injury. We'll move around better. We'll be more efficient.
In his first offseason with the football team, where does Coach Perlak have to start in terms of preparing the players for the upcoming season?
We kind of had to start at square one. Myself and my staff being new, Coach and his staff being new, and then having a pretty young team overall. We didn't graduate a lot of guys, so it was one of those things where we kind of just looked at it with, if we're at ground zero, what do we do with this team? And we kind of just tried to build a good foundation.
So the winter has gone well. I think Coach Perlak and our strength program has done a phenomenal job. It's one of the reasons I believe starting spring practice may be later than a lot of schools, particularly in the Southeast, start, because I thought it was important for Ted to get a solid 8 weeks in the strength, because this is a bulk time. This is a time that we're able to add bulk without, kind of cutting it up with spring practice.
With 8 weeks to train and develop players, how does Coach Perlak begin the process of working out the team?
When the coaches were on the road recruiting, we were working out 4 days a week. We do a basic split routine of a lower body, upper body, lower body, upper body in the weight room. And then we were doing what we call our developmental runs twice a week in January. So that was with the strength staff, and our main goal there was, attention to detail, follow directions, work on some acceleration, work on some change of direction, but more or less be in good enough shape to start our next phase of the running program, which is what we're in now, which is our team competitions. Our first 5, because we have 10 of them all together, were more of a station type thing where we just wanted the guys to work on their effort, their strain, their attention to detail. We got through 5 of those, and then we kind of flipped it on the guys, and now we're in more of a team competition where you still got to have your effort, you still got to have your strain, you still got to have your attention to detail, but now every rep is graded, every rep is scored, and it's a competition within the groups.
We're starting to see who's kind of taken shape from a leadership standpoint, who has some strides they still need to accomplish in both the physical and the intangible part. But I think more than anything, it's bringing together a bond and a camaraderie, and that's really what you're trying to develop here over the last few months before we head into spring practice.
Coach Perlak is responsible for more than just the football team at Elon. He helps strengthen and condition a number of other teams across the board, but what makes football different from the rest?
It's light years different. I would almost argue that it's a whole different job. Football being a true collision sport, it's probably the only sport that really has an immediate carryover from what we do. You can get better as a rebounder. You can get better, maybe get a little more velocity on your fastball. You can maybe cut a little bit better if you're a soccer player. But the actual strength and conditioning of a football program, where you're talking about getting a guy that might be 6'4", 240, and then by his junior, senior year being 6'4", 280, it's a completely different ballgame.
Ultimately, with 8 weeks to train and develop players, what are Coach Perlak's biggest goals and challenges that he hopes to overcome by the time winter workouts end and spring practice begins?
At the end of the day, all we're looking at is, all right, what can we do down there to get them resistant to injury, bigger, stronger, faster, make them more athletic? That way all the coaches can teach them the skills and we'll be successful. We have a lot of faith in these guys as a staff, and they have a lot of faith in us as far as the athletic parts. So, we're truly working together as a team with this and saying, if we can get all 78 guys practicing this spring, we know we're going to be better.